Hello folks, we're really glad you've clicked on this video because this is gonna be a fun one. So as you know, one of the most common tools that animals for their survival out in the wild use is camouflage. They'll perfectly blend in with their environment to either hide from a dangerous predator and on the other end of the spectrum, to pounce on their prey. Buckle up folks, today we're gonna play Can You Spot That Animal? So without further ado, let's get it on! First off, take a look at this tree. Can you see an animal on these branches? Well folks, this right here is a great gray owl. These super smart creatures use their coloring to sneak up on small rodents. So basically they just find perches and stand quietly in one spot until they find something. Plus, they don't even make their own nest. They just use already existing ones. Okay, so this is a particularly difficult one. 10 extra points to whoever manages to spot it, by the way. This is a moss mimic stick insect, and to find one of these, you'll have to travel all the way to the deep cloud forest of Costa Rica. Because of its mossy appearance, it's almost invisible to the naked eye. While their camouflage may seem absolutely perfect for stalking prey, they're herbivores and they only use their disguising powers to defend themselves from dangerous predators. Next up, can you see what's hiding here? As if snakes weren't scary enough already. Now, not only do they use their natural coloring to blend in with the environment, they often just bury themselves under heaps of leaves. This particular one is a spider-tailed viper, and yeah, its tail literally looks like a spider, which it obviously uses to attract prey. That poor bird had no idea what it was in for. Okay, so now, take a little look at what's happening inside our oceans. So, can you see what we're seeing? Yeah, that's an octopus. There are two ways that these creatures camouflage themselves. First, by controlling the muscles under their skin, they can look exactly as smooth or bumpy as the plants surrounding it. Secondly, if they're next to a rock, they'll literally fold their legs, change the way its skin looks, and the way it swims to mimic how waves might push against a rock. Next, tell us if you can find the animal hiding here. Okay, so this is the bobtail squid, found in the shallow coastal waters of the Pacific Ocean and some parts of the Indian Ocean. These creatures go stealth mode using a very unique method. They take help from the bioluminescent bacteria within their bodies to mimic the moonlight and eliminate their own shadows. Plus, they'll even bury themselves deep within stones and leaves. Next up, tell us if you can spot what we're seeing. So this fellow right here is a green tree frog. To hide from birds with extraordinary vision, they've evolved to blend extremely well with the leaves. They are native to Eastern America and are some of the best camouflage frogs in the entire world. For this one, open your eyes as wide as you can and look in every corner. Yep, that wasn't a leaf. That's actually a kind of butterfly called the dead leaf butterfly. When its wings are closed, it literally looks almost exactly like a dry leaf with dark veins. It can also fly really high and fast, and is capable of withstanding moist conditions. When it's in danger, it quickly falls and hides itself in leaves by closing its wings and perfectly blending in with its surroundings. Impressive, right? Impressive. Very nice. Can you see what's hiding here? Okay, so this brilliant creature is the common barren caterpillar, which is a critter residing mainly in India and other parts of Southeast Asia. It has evolved to be amazingly camouflaged on green leaves to hide itself from any and all predators. And even when it's not resting on a leaf, it's still pretty difficult to spot because it looks like a bunch of pine needles crumpled together. They mainly feed on mangoes and cashew nuts and live a kind of solitary life. Moving on to the ocean once again, let us know if you can find anything out of the ordinary. Well, what you're seeing here is actually a flounderfish. This sea animal usually lies almost motionless along the sandy ocean or sea floor, waiting for a meal to come by. Did you know that they only take 2 to 8 seconds to change the color of their bodies to blend in with the environment? This is why they're also referred to as the chameleons of the sea. And now let's take a trip to the lovely forests of South America. Can you see what we see? So what is this fascinating bird? Well, it's something called a common patoo bird, which disguises itself as a branch to save itself from predators. During the day, it can perch motionless on a tree for hours and hours, and both parents take turns to incubate an egg. Because of its impeccable posture and colors, it's one of the most impressive camel animals on the planet. And now, take a look at this clip from this safari. Can you find any living things here? This fella is the snow leopard, which is aptly nicknamed the world's most elusive cat. The colors and textures of its skin match perfectly well with the mountain terrain surrounding it, and from a distance, it's very, very difficult to find. If you're one of the geniuses who managed to spot it, kudos to you. But what if you weren't looking for anything? Would you have known that a literal leopard was in this picture? Next, can you figure out what's on this tree? Okay, so this guy is the wraparound spider. Staying true to their name, these insects can bleed into their surroundings by flattening themselves against a branch and literally wrapping themselves around it. But they only do this during the day. As soon as it gets dark, they come out and have a little fun spinning webs in between the trees. And now tell us if you can find anything out of the ordinary here. So, this is a rockfish, which, as you know by now, literally looks like a rock. It's one of the most poisonous creatures on the planet, and its victims never ever see it coming. Did you know that it's so venomous that it can kill its prey within minutes? Yikes! Luckily for us humans, they are found in the deepest depths of the oceans, and you're pretty unlikely to ever come across one. We're not talking about the white dog. Can you find something else here? Yep, this adorable pup decided to playfully hide from its owners by masquerading as a rug. Just a bunch of leaves lined together, right? Not exactly. Because moths have many predators, nature has evolved them into creatures that hide into their surroundings for hours and hours without being noticed. We're gonna let you sit with this one a little. Drop a comment below if you can find an animal here. This right here is a sand crab, and camouflaging is a piece of cake for it. Because of its skin and texture, it can lie still and go undiscovered for as long as it wants. You have to admit, this is kind of a superpower. Can you tell us what you're looking at here? This is a satanic leaf-tailed gecko, a creature that takes camouflage to a whole new level. To avoid detection, it'll often hang from branches almost exactly like leaves. And what's more, they're incredibly patient. They can spend days hanging motionless off of branches or hiding in between dead leaves. Look closely. We think you might be able to find this one. Yep, that's a lizard. They are actually smarter than you'd imagine, as they'd often spend hours and hours looking for the perfect tree or rock. When they find something that looks like it, they decide to lay still until they absolutely have to move. Next up, can you spot a marine animal here? Okay, so this fascinating creature is called a pygmy seahorse. These poor adorable creatures are really tiny and a bit too fragile to fight predators. Instead, they've come up with a foolproof technique to survive. As soon as they became adults, they start living on corals called sea fans. Their bodies are covered with calcium-rich bumps, called tubercles. That makes them practically indistinguishable from the polyps of the sea fans. Alright, so which of these animals were the hardest to spot? And do you think we missed out on something? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to TRENDJOINT, and we'll see you in the next one.